You've been lied to. They told you love was about effort, about pouring everything you have into someone else until they finally wake up and see your worth. They told you that if you give more, chase harder, prove louder, you'll get the love you deserve. But tell me, has that ever worked? Or has it left you drained, questioning yourself, staring at a phone screen that never lights up, waiting for attention that never comes? See, the truth nobody wants to tell you is this. In love, abundance repels. Scarcity attracts. And no, I don't mean scarcity as in playing games. I'm talking about the law that governs human psychology, the force that makes people crave what they can't easily have. The scarcity effect, and it works every single time. Before we dive into this blueprint, let me thank you. Yeah, you. You've been rocking with me through the Avoidant X series. You saw the patterns, you saw the walls they built, you saw the meltdown that happened when silence turned into power. I know those videos hit you deep, and I know you loved it, because for once, somebody was telling you the truth about what's really happening inside their head. But here's the thing, this is the next level. We're taking everything we've learned about avoidant X's, about detachment, about not chasing, and we're building something unbreakable out of it. No more theory, no more just surviving heartbreak. Now it's about becoming the prize, the blueprint, the man or woman that others orbit around. This isn't background noise. Don't watch this video while scrolling TikTok on the side. Don't play this while texting your ex or swiping on a dating app. This is your time, your hour, you and me. No distractions. Because what you invest here will pay you back for the rest of your life. The theme of this new series is clear, the high-value dating blueprint. And let me promise you something right now. If you commit to this, if you actually sit with me through these videos, without skipping, without half-watching, without letting your ego pull you out when it gets uncomfortable, your entire approach to love will shift permanently. Why? Because high-value love isn't about effort. It isn't about doing more. It isn't about fixing someone who doesn't want to be fixed. It's about leverage. It's about psychology. It's about understanding that people don't value what's always available. They value what could be lost. That's the scarcity effect, and I'm not pulling this from thin air. Study after study in behavioral economics and psychology confirms it. Scarcity heightens desire. When something feels limited, rare, or at risk of being taken away, the human brain floods with dopamine. The object of scarcity becomes magnetic. And in love, this principle separates the desperate from the desirable. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Well, I'll flip that for you. If it is not valued, do not chase it. If it is not rare, do not cling to it. See, most people make themselves common. They give everything up front. They answer every text in seconds. They cancel plans for someone who wouldn't even cross the street for them. They broadcast their availability 24/7, thinking it shows loyalty, but all it shows is neediness. And neediness kills attraction faster than anything else. That's why the scarcity effect is so brutal and so beautiful. When you step back, when you stop giving access to every part of you, when you become selective, suddenly people feel the loss. Suddenly they feel the gap. And that gap, that's where desire is born. You've already seen this play out with your avoidant ex. When you stayed silent, when you didn't fold, when you held the line, they felt it. Maybe they didn't say it. Maybe they tried to distract themselves with rebounds or empty validation, but deep down, they felt it. That was scarcity in action. Now, we're going to take that principle and apply it to everything. Dating, relationships, self-worth. Because when you master scarcity, you don't chase anymore. you attract. So let me confront you directly. Are you ready to stop being the option and start being the standard? Are you ready to stop begging for crumbs and start demanding feasts? Are you ready to stop performing for love and start embodying it? Because if you're not ready, click off now. This isn't entertainment. This is transformation. But if you are ready, then lean in. Because by the end of this series, you're going to understand why some people keep collapsing into toxic cycles, while others rise into magnetic, secure, high-value connections. You're going to see why the ones who chase always lose, and the ones who hold their ground always win. This is about reclaiming your leverage. This is about walking into every room, every conversation, every date with the quiet confidence of someone who knows they don't need anyone, but they choose wisely when they want someone. And that shift, that's what makes you unstoppable. Psychologists call it self-determination theory. The idea that true fulfillment comes when you live from autonomy, competence and connection, not begging, not clinging, not proving, but standing firm in your own worth, so connection becomes a bonus, not a lifeline. That's the edge we're building here. So here's what I need you to do before we move forward. Comment this mantra right now. I don't chase, I attract. Scarcity is my power. Type it. Claim it. Don't just write it because I said so. Write it because you're tired of being on the losing side of love, because you're ready to flip the script, because you know deep down this is the version of you that's been waiting to break free. And hit subscribe. Turn on notifications, not because I need the numbers, but because you need this content. Every week you'll get the blueprint, the psychology, the philosophy, the tools, the truth nobody else will tell you. Do it for yourself. You already know distraction is the enemy, so cut it, commit. Watch this series fully, because when you learn the scarcity effect, not just intellectually, but in your bones, you'll never look at love the same way again. This is your moment. The scarcity effect in love isn't a trick. It's not manipulation. It's alignment. It's the discipline of knowing your worth, controlling your access, and letting others rise or fall based on how they treat you. And that, my friend, is the ultimate power. So let's begin. Stay focused. Key point 1. Scarcity creates value. Because abundance dulls desire. Let's cut the sugarcoating. People don't value what's always there. They value what could disappear. They value what feels rare. They value what feels earned. That's why the scarcity effect works every single time. Think about it. The reason gold has value isn't because it's the most useful metal. Iron builds cities. Aluminum builds planes. But gold, it's rare. It's hard to get. It's scarce. And scarcity creates demand. Now bring that same principle into love. When you're always available, texting back instantly, rearranging your life to fit theirs, showering them with affection they didn't have to earn, you've just turned your value into aluminum. Common, everywhere, easy to find. And here's the brutal truth. The human brain is wired to ignore what it sees as abundant. We tune it out. We take it for granted. We only wake up when it's scarce, when it's at risk, when it's gone. That's why silence drove your avoidant ex crazy. That's why pulling back shook them, not because you were playing games, but because you triggered their psychology. You shifted from abundant to scarce, from always there to where did they go? And suddenly they cared. But here's where most people mess this up. They confuse scarcity with manipulation. They think it means ghosting, stonewalling, or trying to make someone jealous. That's not scarcity. That's immaturity. Scarcity is about access. It's about knowing your worth so deeply that you don't just hand yourself out like free samples at Costco. It's about making people earn your time, your energy, your intimacy. Because the second you stop giving unlimited access, you stop being ordinary. You stop being background noise. You become the signal. Psychologists call this the reactance principle. When people feel like their freedom to have something is restricted, they actually desire it more. Tell a child they can't have the cookie, suddenly that cookie is gold. Tell an adult they can't have your constant attention, suddenly they wake up to how much they actually want it. This is the law of scarcity playing out in real time. But here's where you need to check yourself. Scarcity only works if your value is real. If you're scarce but empty, scarce but boring, scarce but bitter, you're not valuable, you're just absent. And absence alone doesn't create attraction, it creates indifference. That's why the high-value dating blueprint isn't just about withholding. It's about building yourself into something so rare, so magnetic, that your scarcity actually means something. Think of it like this. If I withhold access to a pile of dirt, nobody cares. But if I withhold access to a diamond, suddenly everybody wants it. The diamond's scarcity only matters because the diamond has value. So ask yourself, are you living like aluminum or like gold? Like dirt or like diamonds? The men and women who stay stuck in toxic cycles are the ones who confuse giving more with being more. They think availability equals loyalty. They think suffocating equals loving. They think the faster they reply, the stronger their bond is. But what actually happens? They become predictable, forgettable, replaceable. Meanwhile, the high-value individual plays by a different code. They're not pressed. They don't need validation. They don't text just to fill silence. They live in alignment with Marcus Aurelius's words. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Translation: they don't panic when someone pulls away. They don't fold when they feel distance. They understand that value is created by restraint, by patience, by controlling their estimate of themselves, not depending on others to confirm it. Here's the kicker. Scarcity is what forces people to respect you. Let me give you an example. Say you're dating someone. You're fun, you're magnetic, you bring peace into their life. But you don't flood their phone 24/7. You don't rearrange your world every time they snap their fingers. You have your own goals, your own passions, your own friends. What happens? They lean in. They text more. They wonder where you are, what you're doing, who you're with. They value the time they do get with you more because it's not a default, it's a privilege. Now flip it. Imagine you're always available, always calling, always chasing, always seeking reassurance. What happens? They get lazy. They stop trying. They stop appreciating because abundance dulls desire. This is the paradox most people never figure out. The less you demand love, the more it flows to you. The less you seek validation, the more you're validated. The less you chase, the more you attract. And this is why scarcity works every time, not because it's a trick, not because it's manipulation, but because it aligns with the deepest laws of human psychology. The scarcity effect makes people pay attention. It makes them lean forward. It makes them respect the space you create. But here's the warning. Scarcity only works when it's backed by substance. If you're scarce because you're insecure, they'll feel it. If you're scarce because you're sulking, they'll resent it. If you're scarce because you're broken, they'll avoid it. Scarcity has to come from power, not pain. It has to come from knowing your worth, not hiding your wounds. So, your job in this blueprint isn't just to pull back. It's to level up while you pull back. To become the kind of person who doesn't have to prove anything, because their very presence already proves everything. And when you get this right, scarcity becomes your superpower, because people won't just want you, they'll fear losing you. Key point 2, scarcity forces. Clarity, it reveals who's really invested. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people don't know what or who they actually want until it's not there anymore. That's why scarcity is such a brutal mirror. It forces clarity. It cuts through the fog. It reveals exactly who's invested in you and who never was. Think about it. When you're always available, people don't have to choose you. They don't have to decide whether you matter. They don't even have to think about it. You're just there, like background noise, like tap water. They assume you'll always be around, so they never actually ask themselves if they truly value you. But the second you pull back, the second you stop overextending, the second you stop giving all access passes to your energy, suddenly it's decision time. Scarcity eliminates the grey area. Those who were using you for convenience will vanish. Those who were indecisive will panic. Those who genuinely valued you will step up. That's the beauty and the brutality of scarcity. It forces people to show their true cards. Seneca once said, "Without adversity, virtue never proves itself." I'll flip that for you. Without scarcity, true loyalty never proves itself. If someone only loves you when you're flooding them with attention, that's not love. That's dependency. If someone only chooses you when you're bending over backwards, that's not commitment. That's comfort. Scarcity strips all that away. Because when you stop overgiving, you force them to make a choice, pursue or lose, invest or exit, show up or shut up. And yes, it hurts. Because when you practice scarcity, you'll see people you thought cared about you simply fade away. You'll watch friends disappear. You'll watch partners detach. But let me tell you something. That isn't a loss. That's clarity. Clarity is power. Here's the problem. Too many people fear clarity. They'd rather live in the illusion that maybe this person loves me, maybe they'll come around, maybe one day they'll value me. But maybe is the most dangerous drug on earth. It keeps you hooked on crumbs. It keeps you blind to reality. It keeps you stuck in relationships where your soul is slowly bleeding out. Scarcity ends the illusion. When you step back, when you control access, when you stop feeding their comfort, you get your answer. And sometimes the answer is painful. Sometimes the answer is that they never valued you as much as you valued them. But would you rather live with a painful truth or a comfortable lie? Because the painful truth frees you. The comfortable lie chains you. This is why scarcity is the ultimate filter. It separates those who just wanted the benefit of you from those who actually want you. And let's be real. If you've been through heartbreak, you've already seen this dynamic play out. You probably had people who swore they loved you, who swore they'd never leave, who swore you were their world. But the second you stopped making it easy for them, they disappeared. That's not love. That's convenience. Real love survives scarcity. Real love endures distance. Real love doesn't collapse just because it has to work harder. That's what scarcity reveals. And the crazy part? Scarcity doesn't just reveal others. It reveals you. It forces you to ask yourself, am I chasing because I actually value this person? Or am I chasing because I can't stand the silence? Am I holding on because they're rare, or because I'm afraid of being alone? Scarcity cuts both ways. It exposes their intentions and yours, and that's why most people run from it. They don't want the clarity, they'd rather stay in the fog, clinging to hope, avoiding the truth. But high-value individuals, they welcome clarity. They embrace it, because they know clarity is freedom. The Stoics mastered this. Epictetus wrote, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." In modern terms, if you want to grow, you have to be willing to let people misunderstand you when you pull back. You have to be okay with them saying, "You've changed." You have to accept that scarcity will offend the insecure, because it forces them to confront the truth they were avoiding. So here's the principle you need to tattoo on your mind. Scarcity doesn't push the right people away. It filters the wrong people out. If someone fades when you set boundaries, they weren't right for you. If someone panics when you pull back, they weren't strong enough to hold you. If someone steps up when access is limited, that's clarity, that's proof, that's value, and you win either way. Because when you use scarcity, you either gain confirmation that they're really invested, or you gain freedom from someone who never was. Both outcomes are victories. This is why the scarcity effect isn't just about attraction, it's about truth. It's about removing the mask. It's about finding out once and for all who's really in your corner. And when you know that truth, you stop wasting time. You stop pouring into black holes. You stop begging for scraps. You build differently. You date differently. You love differently. Because now your relationships aren't based on comfort. They're based on clarity. So the next time you hesitate to pull back, remember this. Scarcity isn't punishment. It's purification. It's the fire that burns away illusion, leaving only what's real. And what's real will never be scared of a little scarcity. Key point 3. Scarcity flips the power dynamic from chaser to chooser. Let's get one thing straight. Every relationship has a power dynamic. One person is usually the chaser, the one putting in more effort, trying harder, rearranging, convincing, over-explaining. The other, the chooser, the one sitting back, selecting, deciding, holding the leverage. If you've ever been the one refreshing your phone, waiting for a reply, wondering where you stand, you've been the chaser. And being the chaser is exhausting. It drains your energy, your confidence, and your sense of worth. But here's the good news. Scarcity flips the script. The second you stop flooding someone with effort, the second you stop giving them unlimited access, the second you hold back your energy, you shift. You stop being the one begging for a seat at the table. You become the one deciding who gets a seat. That's the difference between living as the chaser and living as the chooser. And let me tell you, most people live their whole lives in the wrong position. They think power comes from doing more, from giving more, from proving harder. They think if they just show how loyal, how patient, how endlessly available they are, eventually the other person will see their worth. But here's the brutal truth. Overgiving doesn't make people value you more. It makes them value you less, because what's given too easily is taken for granted. And what's scarce, what's rare, what's selective, that's what gets chosen. This is where scarcity becomes a game changer. It forces the shift from chasing to choosing. When you no longer hand out your time like free samples, people start to lean in. They start to wonder what you're doing, who you're with, why you're not always available. They start chasing you. Suddenly you're not the one overthinking what to text. They are. You're not the one waiting by the phone. They are. You're not the one rearranging plans. They are. And here's the kicker. When you become the chooser, everything changes. Not just your relationships, but your identity. You start carrying yourself differently. You start talking differently. You start dating differently. Because deep down, you know you're no longer trying to earn love. You're filtering for it. Let me break it down with some psychology. Researchers have long studied what's called the approach-avoidance conflict. It's the push-pull of desire. When something feels too easy, too available, the brain's reward system dulls. The chase dies. But when something feels scarce, rare, selective, the brain's dopamine spikes. That heightened state creates obsession. That's why you've seen it play out in your avoidant ex. The second you were always there, they felt safe to pull back. The second you went silent, suddenly they couldn't stop thinking about you. That wasn't magic. It was the scarcity effect flipping the dynamic. But here's where I need to confront you. It's not enough to dabble in scarcity. You can't do it halfway. You can't pull back for a week and then break down because you're anxious. You can't withhold today and flood them tomorrow. That inconsistency kills the effect. Scarcity works when it becomes your standard, not a tactic, not a trick, a standard. It's when you decide permanently that your love, your time, your presence is a privilege, not a right. That people don't just get you because you like them. They earn access by showing up consistently, by matching energy, by investing in you the way you invest in them. And when that standard becomes your baseline, everything flips. You stop asking, do they like me? You start asking, are they good enough for me? You stop wondering, will they choose me? You start deciding, do I want to choose them? That's the power of scarcity. It moves you from the hunted to the hunter, from the option to the prize. Now, let's be real. Some people will hate this shift. The ones who benefited from your overgiving, they'll get angry. The ones who loved having you as their emotional safety net, they'll call you cold or selfish. The ones who only liked you because you made them feel important, they'll fade. And that's exactly the point. Scarcity doesn't just flip the dynamic, it exposes who can't handle a high-value standard. Because the people who truly value you, they won't mind earning you. They won't run from standards. They'll rise to meet them. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." I'll reframe it for you. Waste no more time begging for love. Be the one worth loving. And then choose wisely. That's the scarcity effect at its highest form. When you live this way, your energy shifts. You no longer fear losing people. You fear wasting yourself on the wrong people. You no longer compete for attention. You make others compete for your attention. And here's the paradox. The second you stop chasing, you stop losing. Because people respect what they have to work for. They admire what they have to earn. They crave what they can't take for granted. So let me leave you with this challenge. Stop asking how to make them want you. Start asking how to make yourself the chooser. Because when you become the chooser, love stops being a game of begging. It becomes a game of selecting, of filtering, of aligning. And when you live like that, you stop being replaceable. You become unforgettable. The scarcity effect isn't a trick, it's a transformation. So let's bring this home. We've broken it down. Scarcity creates value. Scarcity forces clarity. Scarcity flips the power dynamic. And if you've been paying attention, you already feel it in your gut. This isn't a trick. This isn't a gimmick. This isn't about playing games or trying to manipulate people into loving you. The scarcity effect works because it's truth. It's the truth of psychology, the truth of human nature, the truth of attraction. People don't respect what's always there. People don't desire what's always easy. People don't value what they don't have to earn. And maybe that stings, because for most of your life you've been taught the opposite. You've been taught that loyalty means self-sacrifice, that love means overgiving, that relationships mean pouring until you're empty, hoping one day they'll fill you back up. But that's not love. That's slavery, and you've lived it. You've been the chaser. You've been the overgiver. You've been the one proving, waiting, bending, hoping. But today, that version of you dies. Because here's the truth. When you embrace scarcity, not as a tactic, but as a way of life, you stop begging for worth. You start embodying it. You stop chasing. You start attracting. You stop being an option. You start being the standard. You stop performing. You start choosing. And when you live this way, everything shifts. The people who were only around for convenience will vanish, and you'll finally see they were never for you in the first place. The people who truly value you will step up, and you'll know without doubt who's worth your time. That's the gift of scarcity. It doesn't just change how others see you, it changes how you see you, because every time you hold back, every time you say no, every time you protect your energy instead of bleeding it out, you're telling yourself, I'm valuable, I'm rare, I'm worth earning. That's the mindset that separates the desperate from the dangerous. That's the edge that makes you magnetic without even trying. That's what turns you into the person who doesn't need love to feel whole, because they already are whole. And from that place, you attract differently, you date differently, you love differently, not from fear, not from lack, but from abundance of self. Now let me make this clear. This series, The High-Value Dating Blueprint, isn't background noise. This is work. This is practice. This is discipline. You don't watch these videos while scrolling Instagram on the side. You don't play this in the background while texting your ex. This is your time, no distractions. Because if you actually commit, if you actually listen, if you actually take these principles and embed them into your identity, you will never go back. You'll never beg again. You'll never chase again. You'll never lose yourself again. You'll walk into every interaction with the quiet power of someone who doesn't need, but chooses. And that's what scares people the most, because when you stop needing, you become untouchable. So here's what I want you to do. Right now, in the comments, I want you to drop the secret mantra of this video. And if you're the first one who drops it, you're getting pinned. Here it is. I am rare. I am the prize. Scarcity is my power. Type it, declare it, own it. Let the world know that you're done playing small, that you're done being the chaser, that you're done handing out your value like it's common. This is your reset, your edge, your blueprint. So subscribe, hit that bell, because this is just the beginning. We're building week by week, brick by brick, the high-value dating blueprint. Each episode isn't just advice, it's a weapon. It's the kind of truth that will cut away the weakness, the desperation, the fear, and leave behind only what's unbreakable. And if you've been here since the Avoidant X series, you already know. You know the power of silence. You know the power of detachment. You know what happens when you stop folding and start standing firm. But now it's time to build on that, to take that foundation and rise higher, to become not just the one who survived the breakup, but the one who thrives beyond it. Because this isn't about your avoidant ex anymore. This is about you. This is about becoming the version of yourself that doesn't just attract love, but attracts the right kind of love. The love that feels secure. The love that feels peaceful. The love that feels aligned. And you don't get there by overgiving. You don't get there by begging. You don't get there by being abundant to the wrong people. You get there through scarcity, through standards, through strength. So let me ask you one last time. Are you ready to stop chasing and start choosing? Are you ready to stop being the option and start being the prize? Are you ready to stop living as though your love is common and start living as though it's the rarest thing on earth? If you are, then welcome to the blueprint. Your transformation starts now.